Before anything else, I just want to state something for the record. Even though I'm anti-feminist, I'm not anti-equality, and I'm not against women. I'm against the corrosion of journalistic ethics through politics. When I was a kid, the news had significant bias. After 9/11, it became exponentially worse. I frequently see products on news programs because some company paid to have their products featured, not from ads, but from a segment during the news program itself. When journalists aren't totally selling out to corporate interests, they are compromised by political leanings. They don't deliver the news. They provide entertainment, attempt to sell products, and push political views on their audience. Journalism as a whole has become unbelievably corrupt and is seriously lacking in ethics. I've spent 2 years trying to ignore her. I didn't respond to her. I didn't talk about her. Now I have no choice. Corrupt journalists keep pushing the narrative that she is hated because she is a woman that dared to speak out. No. It's because she lies, distorts the truth, makes false assertions, and demonizes thousands of people based on dishonesty. If she could prove the things she says are true, then I would be behind her. I would support her. I might even donate money to her. However, she has utterly failed to prove anything. She has been exposed and debunked by many, so I don't need to do it. Instead, I want to focus on the impact she has caused, why she is wrong in general, and the effects to be felt in the future. On August 25th, 2014, gamers were already furious at gaming websites over censorship. So along comes Anita Sarkeesian with a new video. As usual, it was full of misrepresentations and baseless vilification of men. Once again, it was extremely inflammatory, which of course prompted responses from across the internet. When she started her Kickstarter for her tropes videos, she stated that she wanted to start a discussion about female characterization in video games. Then she blocked anyone from making comments or seeing the ratings of her videos. Why? Rational critics of her destroyed all her arguments and she wanted to hide the truth. Sure, she received hate, but it should be expected when you accuse all gamers of fostering the culture of misogyny. When you wrongly accuse thousands of people of being bigoted hate mongers without sufficient evidence, you can expect a large percentage of them to hate you. So a couple days later, Anita was sent a series of threats. These came from a single user. It was one enraged person that was never identified. Anita gets these specific threats because she claims that's how all gamers are. Chances are this guy was mad at the most recent video, found her address, and then tried to scare her using the exact sort of things she would expect. It's important to note that his Twitter account only made a handful of tweets. It was created specifically to harass me. The Verge, and later others, gave the impression that the threats against Sarkeesian were related to the harassment of Zoe Quinn. This is something we've seen over and over from feminists and their journalistic allies. If anything bad happens to Zoe or Anita, then obviously it's the fault of gamers everywhere, until August 27th, 2014, at which point it wasn't gamers, but Gamergate supporters specifically. Gamergate has been called a witch hunt and a misogynistic crusade. The reality is that it's just some people that wanted answers. These people were censored as part of a massive conspiracy between almost every major gaming website in the Western world. All they did was ask questions. Then, when they started to find evidence of corruption, they were attacked. On August 28th, 2014, the Gamers Are Dead articles appeared. This solidified the conspiracy. There could no longer be any doubt. The gaming websites we all loved actually hated us. They looked down on us. Who seemed to lead this battle cry that gamers are dead? That would be Leigh Alexander, another feminist. So, what's the connection? How are Zoe and Anita related to each other, outside of being harassed by angry gamers? Well, Camera Lady did a great video on this. The link should be on screen right now. If you haven't seen it already, definitely look at it. I'll come back to this a bit later. If If you want to skip the video, the important thing to know is that Zoe and Anita are both part of the indie game scene. They are indirectly related, but they have mutual friends. Throughout September, various feminist allies in the media rushed to defend Anita Sarkeesian. The reporting consistently focuses on the harassment of Zoe and Anita. People jokingly call this white knighting. You know what I mean, right? The term invokes imagery of a knight mounted upon a white stallion rushing in to save a princess. A male feminist named Greg Kostikian, I think that's how you pronounce it, writing on Gama Sutra, had this to say: "To defend the honor of Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, Leigh Alexander, or yes, Anna Anthropy, I will be willing to meet any of you, on horse or afoot, with sword or pistol, at a time and place of your choosing." I find that funny, given that feminists generally hate traditional gender roles. The Sarkeesian Effect comes to prominence during September. It is a documentary that seeks to show all the flaws, lies, inaccuracies, and misinformation spread by Anita Sarkeesian through her feminist frequency videos. It seeks to raise money through the website Patreon. Responding to feminists demanding the Sarkeesian Effect be removed from Patreon, Patreon itself considered actually blocking the documentary from funding itself through Patreon. Eventually, they decided to go ahead and let the documentary through. This led some feminists to call the site Patreon. They attempted to get other feminists to boycott Patreon, but that got nowhere. I wonder why. On October 15th, 2014, CNN interviewed a Kotaku writer that more or less blamed the threats against Anita to Gamergate. During the interview, Brianna Wu's obscure game plays in the background. This shows more evidence of how all these things relate. CNN is interviewing a Kotaku representative about Anita Sarkeesian in Gamergate while playing clips of Brianna Wu's game. They show one side of the argument, and even while showing one side, they take advantage of the opportunity to advertise. This is the corruption. CNN ignored all the corruption complaints and evidence and unethical behavior of game journalists to focus instead on the harassment of Anita Sarkeesian. At the same time, they condemned thousands of gamers for the actions of just a few. This is wrong. And be warned, if they can do it to gamers, they can do it to anyone. Also in October, Anita was scheduled to speak at Utah State University. The university received the threat demanding the talk be canceled, or else a shooting would occur. The police determined that the threat was not credible. However, all of Anita's supporters ignored the police entirely. They asserted that the threat was real, even imminent. The college said they wouldn't bow to terrorism. Therefore, they would have to talk if she wanted to continue. However, Anita asked the police to suspend the concealed carry laws and ban all weapons from her talk. Being a very red state, they said they would not do that. So, Anita canceled the talk. Late in the month, a school shooting took place elsewhere. Anita received a lot of hate after making the following tweets in response. "We need to seriously address connections between violence, sexism, and toxic ideas of manhood before boys and men commit more mass shootings." She also said, "Not a coincidence that it's always men and boys committing mass shootings. The pattern is connected to ideas of toxic masculinity in our culture." And one more. "Our culture is deeply sick when simply asking questions about how toxic forms of masculinity may harm men leads to hours of hate on Twitter."